Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another day of our Summer Reading Club programming. And today we have something really fun planned where we're going to be making some fireworks in a jar. Isn't that really neat? So it's a bit of a sciencey craft today, but the science behind it is actually really neat. So what you'll need for today's craft is a jar, and if you can fill it about 3/4 of the way full with water, hot or cold, either one works well. You will need some food coloring. I'd recommend grabbing a couple colors. I have blue, yellow, red, and green. Also, make sure you have some cooking oil. Any oil works okay. I just have vegetable oil for today. Also, what you will need is a little bowl and a tablespoon or teaspoon for measuring. Now, as I mentioned earlier, in order to make your fireworks in a jar, you will want to grab your empty jar and then fill it up 3/4 of the way full with water. Now we're just going to put that to the side and leave it for a little bit later. Now, you're going to want to grab your empty bowl and your vegetable oil. And what we're going to do is measure out the vegetable oil into our bowl here. Now, it normally takes 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil in our bowl here to have what we need for our experiment today. But I didn't have any tablespoon measurements. I only had a teaspoon. So what we need is, of course, 3 tablespoons. Now, in every tablespoon, there are 3 teaspoons. So, with a little bit of math, that will be 9 teaspoons that I need for this experiment. So I'm just going to fill it up with veggie oil. 1, 2, 3, 4. If it's a little messy, don't worry. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go. So just like that, I now have 9 teaspoons of veggie oil. I just so happen to spill a little bit, so be very careful. It can get absolutely everywhere. There we go. All right, and once it's all clean, you're ready for your next step. You will then, with your wonderful oil here, try dropping some of your food coloring in. Now, I'm using 4 colors today, completely up to you, however many you use. It'll just change the coloring of your fireworks in a glass. Now, for me, I am going to use some red. So I'm going to put about 5 drops of red, and then grab some yellow. I'm going to put probably about another 5 drops of yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And of course some green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just like that. So, as you will notice, your food coloring isn't actually mixing with the oil. And that is because the oil and the food coloring are actually of different densities, so they don't mix. And density, if you remember from a video I've done previously with the lava lamps, that is how heavy something is. So these liquids, the oil and the food coloring, which is mainly water-based, have different densities, therefore they don't mix, which I think is really cool. There we go, just like so. And you'll want to really mix it up as much as you can, but you will notice, as I mentioned, how your food coloring and your oil won't mix. Therefore, you're just breaking it up and making these really tiny, almost dots of food coloring. And now with that, you will then grab your jar and pour it in. And then you will start to see how the oil settles on the top. And that again is because the different densities where your water is heavier than the oil, so the oil sits on top. But if you remember from our example, the food coloring actually starts to break apart and sink within the oil, and then it combines with the water at the bottom. Now it may take a minute or two. As you can see, 1 or 2 is starting to float down there. But you just give it some time, be nice and patient, and you'll see more and more colors start to come through here. And now the food coloring, being mostly water-based, that's why it then combines with the water at the bottom. Look at that, isn't that cool? I just think it's so, so neat. And as you see, the oil at the top will never mix with the water. Makes for a really, really cool design. But you can use whatever colors you would like, whatever size of jar you would like. All of that completely up to you. But that will be everything for today's craft. Thank you guys very much for joining me. It was another really, really fun one today. I always love doing the science crafts because I know I learn quite a bit more as I'm doing them. And I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day. Have a good one, everyone.